जब भी कोई अमूल ब्रांड
Hello and welcome. You're watching I'll Speak You on Bloomberg Quint. I am Agam Akil. If you've got questions on equity, this show is perfect for you. Send your questions to us on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and WhatsApp. You can also call us on 022-454-04141 or of course, write to us on askbq@bloombergquint.com. Make sure you do add the AskBQ hashtag. And before we take a look at the individual queries, a quick look at the markets as well, which is really under pressure at this point in time. Earlier in the day, I was speaking to, well, at least a handful of analysts and technical analysts who were suggesting that 10,700 is a crucial, well, support zone considering the increase in open interest and inputs there. But if that is broken, and should we see a continuation there, and should we see a close for the Nifty below that mark where there could be some more selling coming through? It's down at 1%. It's the same for the Sensex as well, a little less than 1% declines. The Bank Nifty falling in tandem with the benchmarks, down 1% as well. Let's take a look at the broader market indices such as the mid-cap and the small-cap indices. Both of them are also a weakened trade. In fact, the mid-cap index is down 1.5%. Taking a look at some of the key gainers in today's day of trade, at least as far as the indices go, we have Bharti Infratel, which is up 4%, and we also have gains of as much as 4% for Power Grid. NTPC is the other stock which is advancing in trade, up around 3.5%. But moving on to your other stocks which are also losing out, Dr. Reddy's with a little more clarity when it comes to its Form 483 with 11 observations, 4 of which are repeat, and which is why you're seeing some pressure coming through there. Sun Pharma is also falling down by as much as 5%. JSW Steel also down 4.5%. Among other losers too in today's day of trade, we are looking at a lot of more weakness in Grasim. Tata Steel and Hindalco also leading the losses at this time in the metals pack. So we are certainly seeing the 6th straight day of losses, and should we see this trend continue, it will be the first time since March of 2018, that is last year, that Nifty will have registered 6 consecutive days of declines. And on that note, I'm going to get in our experts for the day. We have Sharmila Joshi, who is an independent investment advisor, and Ashish Kelkar of Kiran Jadhav Associates are here to answer your questions. Welcome both of you, and thanks both of you for joining us. Ashish, my question is to you first, and this one is on Grasim. We have Manikant who writes to us on WhatsApp, and he has a 780 Grasim call. It is significantly away from the current market levels, and well, and this is with respect to the February series. We have to remember that as and when we get closer to the expiry of a series, we see more depreciation in the premium of these options. Why? Because of time decay, because that it hastens. It's currently at 2.4. Manikant has not mentioned the price at which he has entered this particular call, but it is still significantly away. And of course, Grasim's underlying is at 680, as I mentioned. Ashish, can you come in on Grasim's point of view? Do you think it's likely that could see some strength for the remainder of the February series?
Good afternoon. If we look at the short-term chart of Grasim, there is a tremendous weakness which we can see, and today it has given us a breakdown of the descending triangle pattern formation. Now the target for the Grasim would be around 655 in the next 2 weeks. So definitely he should exit from the call that he has bought, and instead of that he should square off this call, and he can buy a call of say around 680 and 680 put, sorry. So if he buys the 680 put, that will help him to recover his losses.
Okay. And on that note, we move on to the next query on WhatsApp. It's on Indiabulls Housing Finance, which Hemant has bought at 830. It's currently quoting at 642 odd levels. Well, we did witness a little bit of an upward movement in the last few days, but the question really is, should he average Sharmila, good afternoon to you too. Would you advise Hemant to average Indiabulls Housing Finance, which he's bought at 630, currently sitting at a potential loss?
Well, no, because I think that what we're really witnessing in the housing finance space is not something that gives me very great comfort when it comes to averaging a stock. Because there does seem to be a suggestion that things could get a little worse, or if not worse, they will sort of stay the stocks will sort of stay range bound for some time. Because obviously, I think the concern started with DHFL, spread to ILFS, and the entire housing finance space has taken a hit. And while there has been nothing specific against which some of these companies, which you could say that this was the problem, but everybody has felt that impact of that piece of news. So I think just stay away from housing finance space for a bit, because in any case, I think the data seems to suggest that real estate is itself on a bit of a slowdown. So I think it's best to just stay out of the space.
Okay, well, Sharmila, we have one more for you, and it's from Ayush Gupta. His question is on VIP Industries and Kajaria Ceramics for the long term. He says, can these stocks be added in the portfolio? And if at all, you have any suggestions with respect to valuations for the same? Sharmila?
So I think VIP Industries could be a little sort of richly valued at this price, but I think in a market where really nothing seems to be working, these are the few stocks which investors continue to like. And I think this last quarter, which is the wedding season, is supposed to be typically a good quarter for luggage, for the luggage sector. And there are only a couple of listed stocks within that space, VIP as well as Safari. And I think definitely VIP is the leader. The kind of innovations they tried, now they're more after the soft luggage piece, plus they've tied up for handbags, etc. So I think this is definitely a stock that you can continue to hold. Where Kajaria Ceramics is concerned, I think maybe I wouldn't be so sanguine, because at the end of the day, this is like a proxy for the real estate sector. And just a little while earlier, we were talking that there seems to be a slowdown in the real estate sector, and you're really seeing the sort of that play out in the numbers of tile companies as well. So it's a good stock. You can hold it if you have a longer term view, but I wouldn't really go out and buy the stock at this point in time.
Okay, well, there you have it. Moving on to a query on Yes Bank, and I'm sure we'll get plenty of queries on Yes Bank. But on WhatsApp, we have Arvind, who plans to short Yes Bank with a target of 185 for the February futures. What's your view here? Ashish, I'm going to take this one up with you. Do you think it's a good idea to short Yes Bank? He's looking at a target of 185. How are you seeing trade develop here?
Definitely a good idea, because it has tested a very important resistance, which is at around 225. So currently it is trading at around 215. So yes, someone can go short in this particular counter with a positional view, not for intraday view. 215 is the current market price. The stop loss should be 226. And as per the charts, the first target which I can see on the chart would be at around 192. So for 192 target, yes, someone can go short with a strict stop loss of 226.
All right, that's your view on Yes Bank. And moving on to the next question from Lovelap. His question is actually in the consumption space, and some very well pedigreed stocks here as well. He's asking if it is the right time to buy Britannia, Pidilite and Nestle with a 1 to 3 year time horizon. That's what he's looking at. So, of course, we've all seen some amount of volatility in Britannia, Nestle, as well as Pidilite. Sharmila, would you come in on this one? Do you have a preference in any of these, or would you buy all of them? How would you go about your allocations?
Well, I like all three, and I don't have any specific choice because while I may prefer like a Nestle business in terms of valuations, probably it would be the most expensive, and Britannia is not a business that's sort of going anywhere in the sense it will always look good. But yes, I think post results for both Britannia as well as Nestle, we've seen some amount of correction coming in. So my advice only would be to sort of stagger your buying, because this market doesn't seem to be in a hurry to go up. In fact, I mean, most people are willing to sort of hold off their purchases till post-election, and market is in that bit of a sort of a funk and not really wanting to go anywhere. So I think start buying, but do a staggered buy, because I think pressure on stocks could continue. So it's prices are not going up in a big hurry. In fact, I think maybe for a Nestle or a Britannia, prices could trend a little lower than where they are currently. So definitely start buying, but buy in a staggered manner.
Okay, I actually have a majority of these questions here, which are on a fundamental view, but I'm going to take one up on technicals as well. We have a question from Akshay Mittal, and he wants a technical view on Larsen and Toubro and Kotak Mahindra Bank, among many others. Akshay, unfortunately, I'm only going to be able to take two stocks from what you've asked for. And considering you were asking whether or not it's a good right time to buy, I'm going to take a technical view here. Because, of course, we all know, and what is well documented is the fundamentals of these companies. But to help you out, Ashish, can you come in on a good level to enter Larsen and Toubro? And second one, Kotak Mahindra Bank as well. Do you think these are good entry level points? Or if not, where would you go ahead and buy into these stocks?
First of all, Larsen and Toubro, definitely these levels are the good levels to enter. The support zone for this particular counter is between 1250 to 1190. So between these two levels, someone can accumulate, because this 1190 is the level where the stock has taken the support for at least 3 to 4 times, and from these levels the stock has bounced back. So definitely this is a good level to enter into this particular counter. A strict stop loss should be kept on 1185 on a daily closing basis, and the first target which I can see on the chart is around 1300 for LNT. Now the second stock is Mahindra Bank.
Yes, Kotak Mahindra Bank.
Kotak
yes.
Mahindra Bank. Kotak Mahindra Bank. Definitely, the chart is making higher tops and higher bottoms. This is a good level to enter into it. The strict stop loss for this particular counter is 1250 on the daily closing basis. If this particular counter crosses 1310, that will be a fresh breakout for this counter, and the next target would be around 1410.
Okay, well, moving on to the next one. We actually have two viewers who want a view on, well, M&M Financial. So one of them, of course, is Chetan Thail. And actually, we have, considering this is an NBFC space, I'm also going to club it with Max Financial Services, which is a question from Gautam Chopra. Let's take a look at how both these stocks are doing at this point in time. Of course, M&M Financial is, okay, it's marginally in the red right now. It's recovered from days lows. And the other one is, this is Max Financial. And the other one is M&M Financial, which is actually under pressure, down 4% today at 373. Sharmila, you track M&M Financial or Max Financial, but how are you viewing the sector as a whole?
Yes, so I think again, tying up with what we were discussing a little while earlier on housing finance companies, I think, this pressure has been felt by the entire NBFC space. So things don't look that great for this as a space, the way, you spoke about it in 2017 or even in the first half of 2018. Whether it's private banks, NBFCs, they've had their concerns. That said, I think I'm more sort of comfortable with a model like an M&M Financial because, it is sort of a more diversified and they have a more presence in various states and, in the rural area, etc. So I think, that's a model I prefer more to a Max Financial. I think Max Financial was also sort of a bit of a news-based stock and, that has not exactly played out the way it was sort of envisaged. So my vote would be for M&M Financial. I think, that's a stock that you can look at or continue to hold.
Okay. Well, fair enough. Moving on to the next one, we have a question from Sunayan Chakrabarti. He wants a short-term view on two metal stocks. One of them is JSW Steel. Let's pull that up first, and I will, move on to Ashish for the second one. Ashish, JSW Steel first. It's down another 4.5%, currently at 268. How are the technicals looking? What would your view be?
See, my view on this particular counter is bearish. If someone is holding the particular counter, one only positive thing, and that's the reason why I would recommend to hold with a strict stop loss of 261, because 261 is the important level for this counter, which is the earlier top as well as bottom. So the resistance has become a support. So 261 is important level. If this level is taken off, then the next target of this particular counter would be 240. So no fresh entry is recommended, no accumulation in this particular counter. But if you are holding the stock, hold with a strict stop loss of 260.
Okay, Ashish, and on the same lines, a question on Hindalco, again a short-term view required here. If we can pull up Hindalco, that is also reeling under pressure today, down 3.7% at 185. Again, Ashish, levels that you would watch out for?
See, the important level for this particular counter was at around 194, which has already been broken on the previous trading session. Now it has given us a breakout of the descending triangle pattern formation, and the first target for this particular counter is 172. So exit is what I recommend on technicals.
All right. Let's move on and take a view of Karnataka Bank. We have a question from Aru. This is a repeat question, if I believe, but this time he wants a fundamental view here. Please suggest long-term strategy on this stock. Should it be held or should it be let go of? It's at 111. Of course, just like many other PSU stocks, Karnataka Bank has had its own share of issues with respect to asset quality. But Sharmila, I'm going to take your view here. What would you do with this one? Would you hold on to this or exit?
Well, I think if you're reasonably long term, I think you can continue to hold because, as we were just discussing a little while earlier, the entire private banking space has also sort of been quite hit over these last 5-6 months. So various banks have had various issues, whether it is NPAs, whether it is internal issues, etc. Obviously, I think within that space, I would prefer that if you were to hold on to, say, like if you were to shift to an IndusInd Bank, or I think even an ICICI Bank at this level, that would probably make more sense to me than staying invested in Karnataka Bank. But per se, it's not at this level. I think you can continue to hold.
Okay. Sharmila, do you track Capacite Infra? We have a question from Akhil Reddy, who's bought the stock at 411 and is currently at 190. He wants to know if he can average.
Which infra?
Capacite Infra.
No, I'm sorry, I've never seen this.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Okay, so then in that case, I'm going to move on to the next question, and this one is on Time Techno. Again, Vivek Kanoja says that it's got good earnings. Please provide a 3-year fundamental view and invested at levels of 150, clearly making a loss considering it's currently at around 86. Sharmila, what about this Time Techno?
Well, actually, this is a stock that I like. Yes, I think it has corrected significantly from that 150 sort of level, where I think it was a little expensive, very honestly, at that level. But I think now it's sort of gotten to a level where you could look to buy it. I think, again, here the caveat would be to do a staggered buy, simply because I think, market is sort of, when you do see the recovery, you will probably see it more in the frontline stocks before it comes to the mid-cap space, because the mid-caps really have been suffering for this entire last year. Well, whereas on the frontline stocks, I think, the cuts are more obvious after this earnings season, where you have an Maruti correcting or an M&M trading at a 52-week low. So, I think the pain is now being felt in frontline, and probably you will see the recovery there first as well. So, simply from that point of view, I think have a staggered sort of a buying approach in time.
All right. Well, moving on to the next question on YouTube, we have Rahul Agrawal. He wants some help in RTI Industries. That's the first one. I'll move on to the next one. Of course, its time horizon is 1 to 2 months, so it's pretty short term. RTI Industries currently trading at 1431, strength seen today, even though it's given up a significant amount of its gains on an intraday basis, still up 2%. Ashish, your view on RTI Industries?
See, it has corrected a lot from a level of around 1800 to a level of 1400 after such a big fall, but naturally there has to be a pullback rally, and I'm expecting a pullback rally in this particular counter, and my target for this pullback rally would be around 1500. Currently it is sitting at 1430, so if someone is holding the stock, definitely I would recommend to hold on with a strict stop loss of 1398 on a closing basis. Target would be 1500 again.
All right. Okay, so something which is in the news, which is making the news right now, is the sugar industries. And based on, of course, the MSC prices and all, currently Ajay on YouTube also wants a view on Balrampur Chini. Of course, let's not forget, it is a fundamental reason behind which we are seeing gains in some of these counters. But Ajay wants a 6-month view. So I reckon I can take a technical view here. Ashish, can you come back on Balrampur Chini then? What would your view be? It's a 6-month horizon. How would you trade this?
See, I am expecting a small correction in this particular counter, and this correction can take the prices to once again to around 105 to 100 odd levels. But definitely, overall chart structure is good. If the investment horizon is 6 months, I would recommend to hold on with a strict stop loss of 100 on a closing basis. Now, if the price goes above 121, which is very near to the current market price, that will be a fresh breakout of an up flag formation which has a bullish implication, and in that case the first target would be around 141. So I would recommend to hold on with a strict stop loss of 100.
Okay, Sharmila, let me come to you on the sugar space. Anything that of interest for you here? Are you tracking this and it's any stock that stands out?
Well, honestly, I was quite negative on the sector, but as you said, there has been a fundamental development over these last couple of days where the to do with the MSP price. So every now and then you used to hear news about this ethanol blending and all, which to my mind was not the real. That never really works, in the sense you keep just hearing of these things, but they don't really translate into anything for the sugar companies. But this MSP, I think, is a whole different spin. But I haven't really looked at the stocks post that. So I will refrain from commenting at this point in time.
All right, no worries. Well, on that note, we're going to head into our rapid fire segment. But before we do that, I'm going to request our experts to keep their answers as short as possible so as to accommodate as many queries as possible. Our first question then in the rapid fire segment is on Edelweiss. A 1-year view needed, so I'm going to do a technical check here. Edelweiss, a question is from Indrajit. Ashish, this one's for you. What would you do with Edelweiss?
I would not recommend a fresh buy, but if you are holding, hold on with a strict stop loss of 127 on a closing basis. On the higher side, the first target is 142.
Okay. Sharmila, a long-term view required on SpiceJet. The question comes from Harish on WhatsApp. Your view?
No, I wouldn't recommend a SpiceJet.
Okay, it's an avoid on SpiceJet. That's what Sharmila is saying. And moving on to the other one on YouTube, we have Shalom Ranga, who actually wants to know what is the best bet with a 5 to 10-year view, Yes Bank or IDFC First Bank. Sharmila, once again, what would you choose between these two?
Well, IDFC First has very honestly to still prove their chops, so to speak. And this is quite a challenging business environment. So I think at this point in time, it's probably safer to go with Yes Bank.
Okay, moving on to a question from Raj Shah, a technical view on Mahindra and Mahindra. That is what's required. He has a time horizon of 1 month. That's what he's looking at. It's down 1.2%. Ashish, your view on Mahindra and Mahindra?
Buy only above 640. Currently it is trading at 626. If you get a chance, then only buy above 640. In that case, the stop loss should be 625 and the first target would be 685.
Okay, one sector which has been under extreme pressure is the defense sector. We actually have Mayank Saraf who wants, some names in the defense sector. I don't know what the motivation here is, Sharmila, but how are you viewing this and anything that stands out for you?
Well, not very honestly, no, because, there was, I think, a lot of buzz to do with defense, thinking that, that Make in India is going to give some orders to that sector. But honestly, I haven't seen that get reflected in the kind of orders these companies make. That said, I think if you had to buy something within that space, then BMN and BEL would be your choices. But again, for their own reasons, there has been a general sort of a sluggishness in that whole space in terms of completion of orders and things like that. So not a space that I'm most positive on. But if you sort of had to buy, if you wanted to buy something, I think these would be the blue stocks.
All right, fair enough. And on that note, we've reached to the ends of this show. So I'm going to thank both our experts, Sharmila and Ashish, for helping our viewers with all their queries. That is all that we have on this edition of Ask BQ. But we remember, we're just a tweet, a post, or a call away. So keep your queries coming in. And we promise to address all of them through our shows. For all the previous episodes, visit our YouTube channel or website, bloombergquint.com. Stay tuned. Up next is Power Lunch.